Feet together. Tucking the tailbone, roll shoulders back, putting the fingertips down the length of the legs. Roll shoulders back, gentle lift in the chest. Parallel that chin. Keeping the tummy engaged. We're going to tuck the chin in and roll the shoulders forward, curling your way down to the ground. Reaching with those arms, rounding through the back. And then tuck the tailbone and roll your way up, one vertebra at a time, all the way to standing, and roll the shoulders back. And then folding forwards, tucking the chin in, arms pulling you down towards the ground as you curl through the spine, really rounding it up, folding through that tailbone, or tailbone lifts up, and then tucking that tailbone, putting your lower abdominals in, and curling your way back up to standing, and roll the shoulders back. Last one, tuck the chin in, allow the shoulders to fall forwards as you curl, reaching your arms towards the floor. And hanging out here at the bottom of your forward fold, and gently swaying from side to side. Feel the stretch into those hammies, maybe into the calves, and a little bit of a wake up through those hips as well. Side to side, neck is soft, looking towards those knees. And then coming to center, and roll all the way up, tucking that tailbone, curling through the spine, one vertebra at a time, and roll the shoulders back. Inhale, reach the arms up and up overhead. Interlace the fingers, turn the palms to the side, pull the arms back behind the ears, squeeze the hips forward, opening up the chest. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, swan dive, folding forwards. You're going to inhale, halfway lift up to tabletop, straighten out the spine, untuck that tailbone, squeeze the shoulder blades back. Exhale, folding forwards, bend the knees, brush the fingertips along the ground, reach the arms up into your chair pose. Palms are turned in, knees are pulled back behind the toes, and squat it nice and low. Exhale, swan dive, reaching the arms towards the floor, bend the knees, placing the hands to the ground. Right foot steps back, and left foot steps back, just to your plank. Knees are straight. Heels are pressing away from your shoulders, are down away from the ears. And you press the arms into the floor, spreading those shoulder blades apart. Making sure your lower back is not collapsing, but tuck that tailbone. We lower the knees down to the ground, wrap the elbows towards your hips, we lower chin and chest down to the floor, and sliding flat onto your tummy. Inhale, gently squeeze the chest away from the floor, float the hands up alongside the shoulders, roll those shoulders down away from the ears, which actually should help you lift that a little bit higher. Elbows tucked in alongside the hips, squeezing into those upper back muscles. Hands back to the floor, tuck the toes, we pull the hips back towards the heels, stretching out those arms, tummy to thigh, stretching out the soles of the feet. And then gently floating straight up, not straight up, into your box position. So coming up onto your hands and knees, untucking those toes, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to get in 10 cat and camels. So tucking that tailbone, folding into those lower abdominals as you curl your spine up towards the sky. Chin tucks in to look towards the belly button. And as you exhale, drop the belly down, lift that tailbone, opening up the chest, roll the shoulders back. And inhale, tuck the tailbone, round it up. Spread those shoulder blades, hands press into the earth. And exhale, drop it down, roll the shoulders back, lift, not just looking forwards with the head, but actively pull the head backwards. And then round it up, tailbone tucks, lower abs activate as you fold into that pelvis. And exhale, drop it down, folding into that upper spine, correcting that daily curve. Inhale, round it up. Deep breath into that back as you fold in half. expanding into that upper back rib cage. And exhale, squeeze it out. Inhale up. And exhale down. Inhale up, round, round, round. Exhale down. Inhale lift. Exhale down. 3 more. Inhale, make sure you're really pulling that belly button away from the floor. And exhale, folding the back in half as the chin lifts. 2. And down. And last one, rounding it up. And dropping it down. Coming to a nice neutral spine. My hair is all fluffy today. We're going to extend the right arm up alongside the ear, palm facing the center, so your thumb is up to the sky, and just left leg extend, flexing the foot to point towards the ground, lifting the leg out of that glute fold, tucking the tailbone, tummy's engaged. We hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Return the hand to the floor, keep that leg. We're going to cross it over to the right hand side, tuck the toes on the right hand side of the body, so it's the left leg. And we're going to twist to look over the right shoulder, so get a nice big stretch out of the left side of the body. Lift the heel, float back through to center, and place the knee back down on the ground. Right hand connects to the earth, left arm lifts up alongside the ear, and then right leg extends through the heel, toes pointing towards the floor. Shoulders away from the ears. You want to feel a connection from that right hip bone diagonally across to that left lower rib or left top ab area. Holding the body nice and straight. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Return the hand to the ground. Leg that's raised is going to cross over to the left side, tuck the toes, straighten out the knee, and then twist to look over that left shoulder. Getting a big stretch down the right hand side of the body. Nice side bend. Lift the heel up, draw it back to center, and placing the knee back down the ground. Extending those arms out ahead of you, melting the chest to the ground for your puppy pose. Keeping the hips directly over the knees. Gently releasing your puppy, taking your right arm, threading it underneath the left armpit, coming to lie on your right ear, right shoulder. That left arm is going to stay lengthening so we feel a big stretch down that left lat. So keep it stretching away from you. And release, coming back through center, right arm extends. Left arm threads underneath right armpit, comes to lie on your left shoulder, left ear. Right arm continues to extend away as you twist through the back. So you might find that through lengthening you have more room to twist. It's the same as when you prop yourself up in that seated position. You have more space to twist around the vertebra. And then slowly coming back up, connecting the hands to the ground. We're going to tuck the toes and lift the hips up to a downward facing dog. Arms press overhead, heels sink down. Untucking that tailbone. And just spend a moment stretching out those hammies, stretching out the calves. Finding your down dog for the day. We're going to lift the heels up off the ground, tighten the tummy, roll forwards into your plank, shoulders move over the wrists without dropping those hips too low. Keep the hips up. Lift the hips up and back to downward facing dog. Shift forwards, curling through the spine so that core is strong and active. Back to your plank. And then back to your downward facing dog. Last one, lift up onto those toes, roll forwards into your plank. Feel that connection, ribs to hips, strong through those arms. And press it back to downward facing dog. And then we're going to gently walk the feet to the front of the mat. Feet together, ankles touching, big toes touching. And then tucking the tailbone, rolling your way up, one of those at a time, folding into those lower abs. Curling up, down. Inhale, reach the arms out and up overhead. Interlace the fingers, press the palms up towards the ceiling, pull the arms back behind the ears. Deep breath in, and then exhale, swan diving, folding forwards. Inhale, halfway lift up to tabletop. Extend through that upper back especially, and folding forward from the pelvis. Exhale, folding forwards, bend the knees, place the hands, this time your left foot steps back. And on the ball of the left foot, press up through the right leg, reach the arms up into your high lunge. Hips are facing the short edge of the mat, sinking low. Folding forwards, left hand underneath left shoulder, right arm reaches to the sky as the hips sink towards the ground. Releasing the right hand to the floor, strong arms, we step back to plank. Lowering the knees down to the ground, winding those elbows in, making sure those hips don't collapse. We're going to do some push-ups, but making sure that tailbone tucks and maintaining that whilst you do your push-ups. So we bend the elbows alongside the body. Make sure the chest would touch the ground before the hips. Keep it elevated and press back up. 1, down, 2, 3, 2 more, 4, and 5. Lower the body all the way down and slide it up. Inhale, lift the chest away from the ground, hands float up alongside the chest, keeping that chin tucked in. And whilst we're here, let's just stretch those arms forwards, out ahead of you, floating them as high off the ground as you can get them. Hold there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the elbows back in, hands to the floor, tuck the toes. Let's pull the hips back towards the heels, stretching out those arms, stretching out the soles of the feet. Lifting the hips up towards the ceiling, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts up towards the sky. Lift up onto your right toes. Bring your left knee in towards your chest. Step the left foot to the front of the mat. On the ball of the right foot, reach the arms up, strong into your high lunge. Palms are turned in, shoulders away from the ears. Back knees pulling away from the ground. We fold forwards, right hand underneath right shoulder, left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Twisting around the spine, wringing out that waist, stacking those shoulders. Find that length through the top arm. Release the left hand down to the ground. Step the right foot forward, feet are together. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Palms to touch and down to heart center. We're going to take an average step back with the right foot. So not as big as your lunging step, but a little shorter than that. Toes are slightly outturned on the back foot, just so that it can plant comfortably flat on the ground behind you. Keep your hips facing the short edge of the mat. You're going to lengthen through the spine and hinge at the hips to fold forwards through your tabletop, and then you can reach the hands down. If you want to place the hands on the shins with a nice straight back, that's great. If you're feeling quite flexible and you want to reach the hands towards the floor, even better. You want to feel a nice stretch down the back of that left thigh. We're going to open up our triangle. So it's the left foot that's at the front, so you're going to place the left hand either on the ground on the inside of that left foot, or you can just place it on the shin. Either one is fine. The right arm's going to reach up towards the sky, stacking those shoulders. So you're twisting the body a little bit more open, so you get a nice adductor stretch on that inner thigh. And you get a nice rotation through the spine as you open up. Lengthening up tall through towards the ceiling. And again, you can have that hand on the floor if you're feeling warm enough. And releasing that right hand down. You can place the right hand on the inside of the foot or up on the shin if that's where your practice is taking you today. And then left arm reaches towards the ceiling. Feel that twist through the back. And maybe those hips are going to want to twist as well. So play around with it, feel what feels comfortable. There's no pressure. It is awkward. It's not something we spend a lot of time doing lately, which is why it's so important that we get around to doing it. Just finding that twist. If the hand up in the sky is too much, you can put your hand behind your back. And then just think about opening the chest towards the ceiling. Releasing both hands down towards the floor or on the shin for now. You're going to bend that left knee, place the hand onto the ground in front of you, and right leg's going to lift up parallel to the floor. If you can get that left leg straight, please do. But if you want the security and the extra quad work from keeping the knee bent, that's totally fine as well. Floating the hands up to heart center, if it's within your practice today. Otherwise, stay grounded with the fingertips. We're going to bend that left supporting knee, drop the right toes to the floor. We're lifting back up into our high lunge. So right foot's at the back of the mat. Folding forwards, hands to the ground, one hand either side of the front foot. We're going to step or kick that left leg back to hover. So we're doing a three-legged plank. And hold a one-legged plank. Same thing, really. Just going to hold there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep that leg raised. We're going to drop that right knee down to the ground and tuck those toes. And we're going to do sort of donkey kicks, but with a straight leg. So left leg is straight. We're going to lift up and toes tucked down without arching the back. So we lift and lower. 9, 8, feel that glute. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep the leg up. Wind the elbows in. We lower the body down through your push-up. And then everything comes flat onto the ground. We're going to press ourselves up to Cobra or to Sphinx. Just take some strain off the back if it is under strain. Otherwise, open chest, elbows tucked in. Find that breath. Tuck the toes, pull the hips back towards the heels, stretching out those arms. And then lift the hips up to your downward facing dog. Sink the heels down. Take a moment to breathe here. Feel the space you can create down the spine as you take a deep inhale. Exhaling, deepening your downward dog. Left leg lifts up towards the ceiling. We lift up onto our right foot. Bring your left knee to chest. Step that left foot forwards. And then right foot steps up to meet it. Straightening out the legs. We inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Palms to touch. And down to heart center. Tailbones tucked. Lower abs are active. Pelvis is neutral. No lumbar lordosis, no sticking out buns. Keep it upright. Placing the weight this time into the right foot, the left foot steps back to that slightly shorter stance. Toes slightly outturned so that the foot can plant firmly, flat on the ground. Keep the hips pointing to the front edge of the mat. You can place the hands at the hips to double check. We're going to hinge forward, sending your tummy towards your thigh. You can reach the hands down onto your shin if that's where you'd like to stay, or you can fold all the way forwards, hands towards the floor. Big hamstring stretch. We're going to take the right hand to the inside of the right foot or on top of the shin, totally fine. Left hand can place in the small of the lower back as you twist the body open, stacking those shoulders. It's a good step one. And then you can reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Nice capital T position through those arms. If it's too much through the arms, the hand can stay behind the back. Working nicely into that adductor, but well supported. And perhaps that lower back's also working as you twist. We're going to release that left hand down to the ground, or to the shin, or to the outside of that right foot if you're feeling quite courageous. Right hand places behind the back, and use that hand or shoulder to twist you open, stacking those shoulders one on top of the other, and then right arm reaches up towards the ceiling if comfortable. If it's too much, you can keep the hand behind the back. Nice and twisty. Using your core to hold you in that position. So think about using those tummy muscles to twist you deeper into your spinal twist. Releasing the hand down, you're going to bend that right knee, fingertips shift forwards of that right toe, and then lift the left leg just to float parallel to the ground. Actively pulling into that left thumb. Get comfortable, bring the hands up to heart center. You're up for the balance today. You're going to bend that right knee, drop the left toes down to the ground, reach the arms up into your high lunge. Good. Breathing into it. Finding that easy settle in your posture. Hands float down to the ground, one hand either side of that front foot. We're going to kick that right leg back to hover. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the left knee down to the ground. Keeping the right leg extended. We tap the right toes down and lift. Repeat for that glute kick back. 3, 4, 5. Rest of the body is nice and straight. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Holding it up. Lower chin and chest down to the ground and sliding all the way flat onto your tummy. Hands underneath the shoulders. We lift the chest away from the ground, pressing up into your cobra. Tuck the toes, pull the hips back towards the heels, stretching out those arms. And then lift the hips up to your downward facing dog. We're going to lift up onto our toes and then drop those knees back into your box position. Untuck those toes. We're going to lift up into a high knee length posture. If you want to fold your mat over so you have more cushioning underneath your knees, please do. Because we are going to spend a little time here on the knees. Let's extend the left leg out in line with that right knee. Toes slightly pointed away. Left arm extends along the left leg. Reach the back of the hand down the shin, and then right arm reaches over. Fingers towards those toes as you lengthen down the right hand side of the body. Drawing yourself up, placing the right hand down onto the floor, a good distance away from you, and the left arm reaches overhead so we get a big stretch into the side of the waist. Keep the hips squeezing forwards. And then you're going to use that top oblique to draw you back up to center. And we're taking a moment here. You're going to place the hands behind the head, interlace the fingers so we're nicely supported, and elbows open up. Making sure your bum is not sticking out, you're going to squeeze those hips forward. And we're going to lean over to about a 45 degree through the midline. Okay, so we're leaning over to the right hand side. We've got a good activation into that left oblique. And you're going to lengthen through the crown of the head, reaching over to the right hand side, folding into that right waist, and then bring it back up. For one, you should feel that top oblique working big time. Reach. For two, coming only up to that 45 degrees. We're not coming all the way up. We're going to reach and halfway three, reach and four, reach, five, and we're going to do one more, reach and six, and drawing it all the way up. Bring the knees together. You're going to have a seat onto those heels and then stretch those arms out ahead of you for your child's pose. But this time with the knees together. And in actual fact, if you'd like to place those arms next to the body into a teeny tiny child's pose little ball, that's also up to you. Sometimes you feel more of a release in this position, but maybe you feel better supported with the arms extended. And then gently releasing, coming up into your tall kneeling for the other side. So the right leg extends out in line with the left knee. We're going to take the right hand down alongside the shin, making sure the body is nice and straight between two panes of glass. So right hand reaches towards that foot, left arm reaches up and over towards that leg. Good, stretch to the side of the body and across that left hip. And then drawing it up, swinging all the way over, placing the left hand onto the ground a good distance away from that left knee, and right arm reaches over. So really well supported onto that left hand so we get a really nice big arc across the outside of the body. Or extension through the side body. Again, double check that those hips are not collapsing backwards, no sticking out thumbs. And then using that top oblique, waking and warming it up, pull yourself all the way up to standing, well, standing, kneeling. You're going to place the hands behind the head. Using that right foot to grip into the ground, to hold you a little bit more secure. Shoulders are down away from the ears. We lengthen out to 45 or so. Finding that starting position. And then we reach that left elbow down and bring it back up. 45. Reach. And 2. Reach. 3. Reach. 4. Reach. 5. And the last one. Reach. And 6, coming all the way up. And then onto your knees, sit the bum back, reach the arms out ahead of you, or wrap the arms around those thighs. We're going to come back up, placing the hands onto the ground. We're going to tuck those toes and lift back into your downward facing dog. And then walking the feet to the front of the mat. Tucking through the tailbone, we're going to roll up one vertebra at a time, all the way up to standing. And roll the shoulders back. Inhale, reach the arms out and up overhead. Palms to touch as you draw the arms back behind the ears. Exhale, swan dive, folding forwards. Inhale, halfway lift up to tabletop. Exhale, fold forwards, bend the knees, brush the fingertips along the ground, reach the arms up into your chair pose. As you exhale, fold forwards, hands to the ground, bending the knees, right foot steps back. We're going to drop the right knee to the ground, unflip the toes, reach the arms up. As you sink the pelvis down, palms are turned in, working into the front of that right hip, left knee is open, tummy is engaged, so you're not overarching through the lower back. You're going to grab the right wrist with the left hand and reach over to the left hand side, which will increase and intensify the stretch across the right hip flexor. Maybe down the right side of the body as well. Think about a nice big stretch. And then gently drawing it back up. Falling forwards, one hand either side of that front foot. You pull the hips back over the right knee and straighten out the left leg. Extending the chest towards your shin as you fold forwards. Finding a good length through that left hip flex up to the left hamstring. We shift the body weight forwards, taking both hands to the inside of that right leg, and that left leg. Oh, miraculous back today. We're going to roll to the outside edge of that left foot, and as we press that knee open, we sink the pelvis down towards the ground. Hands can support you underneath those shoulders, or you can use the one hand to push the knee more open as you sink deeper into that hip socket. And feel free to play around with it. So finding that point where you sink the whole body down, or maybe just working that knee a little bit more open. And seeing what feels good. And release, placing the foot back down on the ground, left hand underneath the shoulder. Tuck the toes, lift the back knee up. We're going to kick back to three-legged plank once more. I'm just going to hold it here. If you'd like to drop your back knee down, that's fine. But here, please, if you're up for a challenge, we're going to bring knees to chest, curling into those abs. For 5, kick it back. 4, you've got this, kick it back. 3, 2, and 1. Kicking it back. You can place the toes to the ground, knees to the floor if need be, and sliding out onto your tummy. Pressing yourself up to cobra. Tuck the toes, lift the hips straight back up to a downward facing dog. Heels sink down, arms press overhead. Lifting up onto your toes. Both toes, we're going to shift forward to your plank and lift the right leg up to hover. You can drop your left knee if you need to, otherwise keep that plank. The right knee to chest for 5. Kick it back. 4. Kick it back. 3. 2. And 1. Extend. Place the toes down. Drop the knees if you need to. Otherwise, full chaturanga. Press up for cobra. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips up. Back to downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up towards the ceiling. Lift up onto your left toes. Bring your right knee to chest and step that right foot to the front of the mat. So right foot up into that lunge. Drop the left knee down and flip the toes. Reach the arms up to your low lunge. Palms turned in, shoulders down and back. Sinking into those hips. We're going to take the right hand, grasp the left forearm and pull away from the left hand side. If that's too intense, feel free to stay in the center as well. It's totally up to you. And then coming back up to center, folding the hands down to the ground, and pull the hips back as you straighten out that right knee, extending the spine as you fold forwards. Shifting the body weight forwards, taking both hands to the inside of the leg, roll to the outside of that right foot, pushing that right knee open as you sink the pelvis down to the ground. You can support with both hands or one hand and using the other hand to press the knee more open. Rolling back onto the sole of the foot, hand to the outside of that support of that front leg, tuck the toes, lift the knee and step to the front of the mat, feet together. Arms are heavy to the floor, tucking the chin in, we roll up one vertebra at a time, all the way to standing, and roll the shoulders back. We're going to place the palms together at heart center. Then lift up onto our toes, heels float off the ground. And then with control, all the way back down. 1, and lift. 2, and down. 3, and down. 4, oops, and down. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and on the last one, we're going to hold it up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower those heels back down. We're going to grab a seat in the center of the mat. So finding your way to the center. Bending the knees, feet are hip distance apart. We're going to extend those arms out together, tuck the tailbone, and curling your way down, all the way flat onto your back. Placing the hands behind your head, we're going to warm up for the core, elbows open, supporting the head. Pressing the back of the head in towards the hands, so you're not straining from the front of the neck. So the knees are bent, the feet are flat, probably a good 90 degrees for me to be good for now. We're going to take a deep breath in to prepare, and then as you exhale, lift the chest up towards the ceiling. And inhale, coming down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, down. 3, and down. 4, and down. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then hold it up on the next one. For 10, hold those shoulders nice and high off the ground. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rolling it all the way down. So we have a new exercise coming in here. It would be easier if your feet are slightly further away from you, so instead of the usual close position, just send them slightly further away, but you'll probably find that comfortable position as you work through the movement. We're going to extend the right leg so that your knees are in line with one another and your thighs are in line with one another. And you want to maintain that throughout the exercise. Arms are up above the shoulders. You're going to take a deep breath in to prepare. As you exhale, you're going to reach forward. So we've done the roll-ups before. Reaching up and sitting all the way up. Extending into that upper back if comfortable. Keeping that leg elevated. You're going to reach forward and curl all the way back down. That is 1. Deep breath in to prepare. As you exhale, reach forward. Sitting all the way up. And extend if comfortable. And curling all the way down. 2. 3. Down with control. Curling through the back. 4. And reach, roll. And then last one, exhale, reach, curl it up. You can keep those arms extended. We're gonna hold it up for a moment. We're gonna pulse that leg. We pulse, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, keep it straight, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, floating there, we curl all the way back down. Bring both knees in towards your chest, giving yourself a big hug. Let those hip flexors relax and breathe as you rock from side to side. And then releasing the feet down to the ground, ready for the other leg. So you're lying on your back, knees are bent, feet are flat. Find that good distance and extend the other leg so your knees are parallel to one another or in line with one another. Arms extended up ahead of you, taking a deep breath in, and as you exhale, reach forward and rolling all the way up, extending with those arms through the spine, and reach and curling all the way back down. Inhale to prepare, exhale, reach, curl, extend, and roll all the way back. Reach, number 3. Extend if you can. If you're struggling to get up, try send that foot a little further away from you. All the way down. Exhale for 4. Roll back down. And last one. Exhale for 5. Hold. Straighten the leg. We pulse. 10, 9, 8. Squeeze it straight. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep it up as you roll back down onto your back, bringing both knees in towards your chest, and give it a big squeeze. So sometimes muscle weakness causes the muscles to be quite tight. You might find this in your mid-upper back, like if you've got a very rounded back and you get a lot of ache between your shoulder blades. But in this case, if you find that your hip flexors are taking strain, though your hip flexors are probably quite tight, they're probably quite weak at the same time. So that's why you might find that works more hip flexors rather than abs specifically. We're going to stretch that left leg out and on the ground. Right knee comes in, give it a big squeeze. Right knee in towards your chest. We're going to stretch the right arm along the floor. Take the left hand to the outside of the right knee, crossing the knee over the body, keeping your right shoulder flat to the ground. Drawing it back up, extending the right leg along the floor. Left knee comes in, give it a big squeeze. And then left arm along the ground, right hand to the outside of the right knee, pressing the knee over the body, twisting through the torso, not just into that hip, but really winding out that whole back. Each exhale gives you more room to twist that little bit deeper. And then bringing it back up to center, planting the feet, adjusting the pelvis. Crossing the right ankle over the left knee, reach through for the back of the left thigh and pull that left knee towards you. And push your right elbow into the right knee to get a good glute stretch. You want to keep that tailbone untouched towards the floor to make sure that that glute stretch is sort of maxed out. If you are struggling to feel a stretch, releasing the foot down to the ground, right foot faces to the floor, left ankle crosses over right knee, reach through for the back of the right thigh, and pull the right knee towards you, left elbow pressing in towards that left knee, stretching into the left glute, spine is neutral, or actively untucking that tailbone in towards the ground. Releasing the legs down towards the floor, knees are bent, adjusting the feet to the outside edges of the mat, and heels are close towards the bum. Then take both knees over to the left hand side and then take the left knee, place it on top of the left ankle on top of the right knee. Keeping the tummy tight. If you can grab your right foot with your right hand, that can help you pull the foot nice and tight towards your bum, increasing that quad stretch, but no pressure if it's already big time in the quads and hip flexors. It's quite an intense stretch, so once it's stretching, we're pretty good. Releasing the foot, drawing the knees up, adjusting the lower back, bring the heels close to your bum, feet as wide as the mat, taking both knees over to the right, and then right foot places on top of left knee. You would like to use your left hand to grasp that left ankle, and keeping the tummy tight to pull away from that left hip flexor. Trying to get that back flattened in towards the earth. Releasing the foot, drawing the knees up, bring your left knee into chest, right leg up towards the ceiling, buck it over the face and use it to roll you all the way up. Crossing the ankles, we're going to fold forwards, extending those arms out ahead of you. Feel the space you create down the spine as you breathe into your back. And then walk the hands up to center, swapping the other ankle to the front and folding forwards. And sliding back up to seated. Thank you all for joining me this afternoon. I hope you feel a little looser. Sorry about those hip flexors, but they form an important part of your core as well. So I hope they are doing all right too.